your dining room, living room, wherever you want to view us. Emily, how many years now have we been doing this? Is this the third year?
I believe this is the third year. So it was one of those products of necessity almost for people to get their RUP credits in and get that knowledge during COVID. But we found that it was a great program to keep going so that everybody can, like you said, have easy access to all that information. And we've been able to get some really exciting speakers that, otherwise maybe just traveling to Michigan for one morning on the snowy morning is not a possibility, but making sure that their message is heard to everybody in Michigan is very possible. So
Now, obviously, one of the main reasons why we had it also is because we couldn't have the crop summit in
right, of course.
2020. It
Yeah.
was very difficult in 21. It was very difficult to have that. But you had the lines of communication open because Crop Summit had been very successful getting some big name
Yes.
speakers.
Yes, absolutely. So we are fresh off Crop Summit this week. So if you are, we're hoping that means you're still excited about finding new information and excited to hear from more and more speakers that we have lined up and keep that educational push going all the way through spring.
Let's touch real quickly on Crop Summit. From what I understand, record breaking attendance this past year.
Yes, it was a really big year. It's always hard to know exactly. I know some people, register for one day or another kind of thing. So I'm not sure that all 1,200 were there on the same day, but we did end up with about 1,200 registrants this year. So it was really big, and that's great to see. As next year, the 2024 year, will actually be the 10-year anniversary. So we are excited to put together some hopefully special things for that and make sure to keep that energy going.
That will be really exciting. And of course, we look forward to being there as well. It's always a treat to see the producers. They're in a pretty good mood these
Yes.
days, aren't they?
We're hoping so. We're hoping so. I guess it'll depend a little bit on what our speaker group with Coffee with Corn tells us. But from everything that we heard at Crop Summit, things are at very least optimistic. So we're glad to hear
And the
that.
other thing too is this is 5 years. So this is referendum time.
Yes.
Voting is going on right now.
Yes,
And I think
absolutely.
everybody involved with the corn marketing program is encouraging our producers to cast their ballot, get it out, because the deadline is coming up. Is it the end of this week?
It is February 3rd. So yes, I believe that is Friday. So it needs to be postmarked by February 3rd. Of course, we here at the Corn Marketing Program hope that you see value in what we're doing and putting on programs like Crop Summit, working on things like Coffee with Corn, and making sure that everybody is able to learn through that and make sure that we keep on working towards those good yield counts that everybody appreciates in the fall, putting on between the rows, and all the other things that happen here that we do with your checkoff dollars.
That Between the Rows program has been very successful also, hasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes, it has.
And it's provided a lot of producers with some really vital information, not only on how to do things, but some of the newer hybrids.
Absolutely. I think, and I think those yield checks also have come in and really handy. I know we had a comment. We were at the agribusiness conference these past months, I believe, and somebody came up to Jim and said, I didn't buy those yield checks when you started doing them, but now that you're on year, whatever year this is that you're doing them, I think you guys might be onto something. So we're glad to hear that they do seem representative of what's coming out of the field.
Well, and representative of what's coming out of the field in different regions,
Yes.
not just an overall state average. This really helps the producers.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Coffee with Corn. We're going to kick
Yeah.
off tomorrow morning.
Yes, we are. So tomorrow morning, we are going to have a session from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., kind of focused on exports and what's going on. I'm sure there's been a lot of back and forth on what's going on down in Mexico. Are they going to accept non-GMO corn? Are we waiting for better terms? A lot of that is going to be explained, thankfully, by the U.S. Grains Council. We've got Ryan LeGrand, who is the president and CEO of U.S. Grains Council. And we've also got Andrew Brandt, who is their director of trade policy. So I mean, if those guys don't know what's going on, I don't know who does. So I know that I'm looking forward to a little bit of clarity on that and what it looks like at a farm gate kind of level, what those impacts look like to us as producers and to Michigan farmers, what we can expect and how we can navigate those issues successfully.
And what's nice about the presentation, it's a Zoom presentation that we're going to be
Yes.
involved with. We'll also be carrying that Zoom on the Facebook page that you're looking at right now.
Yes.
Our guys will be able to put stuff up on the screen and let us take a look at it as they are explaining.
Yes, absolutely. I know that both Ryan and Andrew have put together some slides. So there will be, more than just conversation is great, but there will be even more than just conversation for us to reference during that. And of course, there's always opportunity if you are on the Zoom side or on the Facebook side to type in some questions and make sure that you're getting those answers that you're seeking surrounding some of these uncertainties out there.
And you'll be assisting me on that, right?
I will try my best.
There's always some really interesting questions. So
Yes.
I need all the help I can get, if you know what
Yes.
I mean. And then at the end, there will be certain sessions. I don't know if all of them, but certain sessions where producers will be able to get some much needed credits.
Yes. So 4 of our sessions this year will have credits. Our one tomorrow will not. But if you come back on February 7th, we've got Matthew Pohl. He is a sales agronomist with Thurston. And so if Thurston doesn't sound familiar to you, it's probably because they are a breeding structure, kind of a breeding arm of BASF. And so they handle corn traits from everybody. So whether you plant, Syngenta traits and you're in that 32-22 range, or you're liking a VT Pro, or if you like chrome corn from, Pioneer, whatever it is that you plant, Matthew probably works with that trait package. And so he is going to shed some light on how to get the most out of your traits and what traits you might need and how to place them. And then a little bit on these new traits that have come onto the market recently, how to make sure that you're navigating those and utilizing those to their best efficiency. And so I'm certainly looking forward to his perspective on that as someone who kind of gets to be in the know on all sides.
And again, from what I'm gathering, some of these traits figure in on being able to control some diseases.
Yes.
So it might not make them resistant, but at least it helps.
Right.
If Mother Nature decides that she's going to make it wet.
Yes, exactly. So he should
something
have
like
some good insight for us on that. Make sure we're maximizing that seed investment, because that's always, making sure that bottom line is where we want it to be.
So that's February the 7th.
Yes.
Then Valentine's
The 14th
Day
will be another RUP credit. And so our very own Kristen Poley, Director of Research and Agronomy here at the Corn Marketing Program of Michigan, will be giving a talk on some conservation programs. Michigan has been the beneficiary of a couple of the Climate Smart grants. And then, of course, there's all of the I guess, normal, so to speak, intricacies that can go into conservation programs. And so she has certainly spent a lot of time knowing how to best navigate those and how to best integrate those into a corn production system. And so she's going to be able to talk about what works, what's worth implementing on your farm, and how you might take some of those steps as we, get more and more into the ESG buzzword kind of territory. I know it's something that's top of mind for a lot of producers, and how they can maximize that investment and hopefully use that investment to make more money on their operations. She's going to explain how we could do some of that.
I'm still having a hard time trying to figure out all of these ESGs, ABCs,
Yes.
whatever it is.
I agree. I'm glad we have Kristen.
Programs all squared around.
Yes.
Okay, then the next.
Next, we've got another RUP credit. So we've got 3 right in a row that you're going to get RUP credits for. We're going to be talking about kind of drone spraying and what that looks like on a farm, whether you are hiring that out or you're looking to implement it on your own farm. We are going to have the Co-op Elevator, who's been, extremely successful in their drone spraying program, talk about that, as well as Jeff Sanborn. And Jeff Sanborn has worked a lot with Dr. Bruno Basso and Rich Price from MSU to help implement a lot of these things on his farm, and what data is the data that you need. So kind of 2 different perspectives, more on the farmer side, more on the cooperative spraying side, to make sure that we've got those questions answered on how, as we see more and more applicator shortages, maybe we can take advantage of these technologies safely on our farm.
Well, I'll be joining you to talk about drones at
Yes.
Crejack's house in Bay City, because February 21st is Fat Tuesday this year.
Of course.
So you can have your punchki and learn about applying a drone to your
Absolutely.
farming operation. And again, that's put on by the Cooperative Elevator, right?
Yes. And then on the 28th, we don't have an RUP credit, but we do have Aaron Burke, who's the director of sales for U.S. Central Crop Protection at Atticus Chemical. He is going to be talking about some supply chain expectations and what we might see rolling into spring. So I first heard Aaron speak about a year ago now, and I was just blown away by the knowledge that he had. So he is kind of in that generic chemical market, which gives him a really great perspective on seeing kind of 3 years down the pipeline where different things are at, what chemicals seem to be running a little bit short, what seems like it's going to be readily available, and the knowledge of how to be able to adjust your programs to make sure that you are taking advantage of what's out there and making sure that you're not having to pay more than you'd like to for your crop protection this year.
Supply chain has been a real issue.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
He'll be able to give us a little enlightenment there, because as I understand it, things are improving, but as you said, there very possibly could be some things that are really important to us on the farm that we're not going to have easy access to. So that's on February the 28th. Then we roll into March.
We're rolling right into March 7th, and we have Matt Smorch, who is the president and CEO of CountryMark. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about what vehicle electrification, kind of what impact that has on the diesel supply, and what we can expect to see as far as diesel supply is concerned when we roll into spring. I know there's been a lot of conversation back and forth on, the next supply chain item, of course, is diesel fuel. Are we going to be able to get what we need for our operations? And of course, as we look at more and more electric vehicles coming onto the grid, how does that have an impact on things? And so I don't know who better than Matt to be able to explain that scenario to us. And it's certainly something that I'm looking forward to being able to know more about as well.
Yeah, which kind of leads us to another supply issue, which is electricity.
Yes.
As more and more uses are being introduced to use electricity, they're trying to get farming operations plugged into that.
Yes.
I'm going to be real curious to see if we can actually get a pickup truck or a truck that can do the work that's electrically powered.
I am too. And I have a feeling that Matt has probably got some feelings and thoughts and knowledge on that subject. So he will be able to answer all those questions for us, I hope, until he sees this and calls us and says, wait a minute, that's not the question I signed up for. So we'll navigate it together.
Well, and then after that, my guess is, if I've got my calendar right, we'll be on daylight savings time.
Yes.
For the March 14th.
Yes, but it will be, of course, worth it. We're working with Eric Snodgrass at Nutrien. Of course, he is their principal atmospheric scientist. And so we are hoping to get that all confirmed for you guys to be able to have an RUP credit and to have some really good knowledge rolling into spring on what those weather patterns might be and how to best plan your planting schedule to mitigate them. Not that you can always plan around it, but at least if we know what to expect, it's a little bit better when it comes rolling in.
He's got a pretty good average.
Yes.
of
Yes.
predicting things. And I always, I mean, the joke is always, because I also do meteorology, is that I can't believe you guys get paid to be wrong. Well,
Right.
actually, we get paid to be right. We
Yes.
might not be right all the time, but I always tell people, and I told Eric the one time when we talked, just remember Ty Cobb is in the Hall of Fame, and his batting average was 368. So
That's fair.
he hit the ball a third of the time. All right. So I guess if
You
I'm as
know,
good as Ty Cobb, I'm doing just fine. And I think Eric is too.
the way I
He's
see it, I mean, Eric always does a fantastic job, and any insight that we had that we didn't have previously rolling into spring, I think is a big help. So we're looking forward to getting that firmed up with him.
Well, the nice thing about Eric is it's not just a matter of predicting, okay, this is going to be a dry year or whatever. He has a lot of the jet streams and a lot of
Yes.
the weather abnormalities and all this other stuff figured in. So he's got a pretty good idea what the trend might
Yes.
be as we go through because, well, sometime when we're off camera, I'll tell you what my forecast is, but
Oh
not
no.
today.
That, do-
Other
that
than
doesn't
cold
sound
and snow.
optimistic.
So Emily, you've got quite a lineup.
Yes, we're really excited. We have some returning faces, we have some new faces. We'd like to try and, keep it fresh, but make sure that we've always got those tried and true speakers that we know that everybody wants to see. And so we of course are always looking for suggestions for, we're already starting to look at next year's plan even. So if there's something that wasn't on this list and you went, man, I would love to attend an 8 a.m. Zoom session on that, certainly reach out and let us know.
And again, we kick everything off officially at 8 a.m.
Yes,
We kind of like to chit chat a little bit before.
we
So
do.
if you want to join us a few minutes ahead of 8, please do. We have fun. And if you've got any comments or any questions, you can do that at that time with the Zoom. Just get that link. Now, the other question is people are getting that link.
Yes.
What qualifies us to get that link?
So if you go to the Michigan Corn website, so micorn.org, there is a registration page there, and you can register for whichever sessions you're able to attend or whichever sessions look like the ones that could kind of pique your interest. You will then receive your Zoom link in your email previous to the session. So you're able to just go right ahead and click and join on in. So if you are pre-registered, and for the ones that have RUP credits, you will have to be pre-registered or be registered on the Zoom call so we can verify that you're there, not just be attending on one of the social streams. But of course, everybody is welcome to, watch, listen, and learn through all the social streams. But for those 4, if you're looking for those RUP credits, it's really important that you do register and jump on that Zoom link with us so we can make sure we get your credits to you.
So again, scrolling along on the bottom here, we see micorn.org. That's where you should go if you haven't already and register, and especially register if you do need or want those credits.
Yes.
Emily, in closing, is there anything that our producers should be aware of?
I think we just are kind of waiting to see what spring shakes out like. And so we, of course, always welcome some feedback. We got some surveys back from our member base here on the Michigan Corn Growers Association side. So we've got some, renewed vigor and excitement to tackle some of those challenges that you guys requested of us there. And we always love for you to be involved and let us know what you're looking at. So, always make sure you're happy to get a hold of us here at the Corn Office.
And again, our crop summit is going to be next year, right around the end
Yes.
of January. And
Yes.
that is number 10. So
yes. So we will see you there.
yeah, and my guess is you better reserve your room early.
Yes. Yes.
Emily, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Drive careful out there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Corn.
Perfect. See you tomorrow, Terry.